It seems like we've played over there 3 or 4 times since they've come to see us and play. That was Kirby talking about Georgia and Alabama. He said, "I wish it could happen more often." Georgia or Alabama coming to Athens. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, a little bit for sure. So a lot of this is that Georgia and Alabama have played a lot. They just haven't played really on campus very much. When you think about how often these two guys have played, it's been in Atlanta. They've played in Atlanta 4 times, 3 times for the SEC championship and once for the national championship. All 4 of those going to Alabama. The game in 2020 was a one-off game. That was a game that, I don't know this to be fact, but I can only imagine that television folks wanted that game, and so they got it in 2020. That was not necessarily a planned game in terms of the way that the SEC works. But for everybody to keep in mind here, first of all, Kirby's exaggerating. Georgia and Alabama have played, 7 times since Kirby's been the head coach. They've never played in Athens. They played in Tuscaloosa twice in that time. Once in 2020, like I talked about, and then 24 last year, and the return game is this year. So it's not like there's some, cabal out there like so many ridiculous people tend to think. But they just have not played in Athens. Now, we went a long time without these two playing in Tuscaloosa either. I mean, we went 13 years without Georgia playing in Tuscaloosa. Why is this the case? Well, it's kind of a long story, so buckle in your chin strap. When the Southeastern Conference split into divisions, Auburn and Alabama had to be in the same division. So that put Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee on the East. It didn't have to be, but it worked out that way. They split the 6 natural powers of the league into East and West, with Georgia, Florida, and the Vols on the East. The West would be Alabama, Auburn, and LSU. And so then those teams didn't play one another very much at all. And then the scheduling format after 1992, I can't remember, it was like 2002, I think. They went away from the model that was a 5-2-1 model or a 5-3 model, and you only played one cross, and so you would start getting the other team more often. Well, for Georgia and Bama, that triggered them playing a little bit more often. For instance, before they went to the modified schedule, the first 12 years or the first 10 years of Georgia of the SEC being in divisions, Georgia and Bama only played once. They won one series, so once in Tuscaloosa, once in Athens, and that was it. And then they went to the modified schedule, and so in the 2000s of that decade, they played 4 times on campus, and Georgia winning all of them but one. So then Missouri and Texas A&M came in, and that's really what stopped the two teams playing one another. We had one campus game from 2009 to 2020, and that was in Athens in 2015. So Alabama and Georgia have not played each other very often this century. They will play one another, I think, more as time goes on here, but they usually didn't play one another. That's another thing to keep in mind. Now, when they played one another, they have been classics, and I'm not talking just about the 24 game. Really, the 23 game was a classic as well. The national championship game, was that a classic? Georgia people think it is. Was the SEC championship before that in 21 a classic? Probably the Alabama people think it is. The 2020 game was a really good game in Tuscaloosa. I don't know if it was a classic. The 2 games before that, the SEC championship won by Alabama on the last play of the game, that was a classic. Obviously, the Tua throw was a classic. 2015 was just sort of a solid beating. 2012 was definitely a classic. 2008 was just a solid beating. But then, 2 of the 3 games after, the 2 games in Tuscaloosa from Georgia with Mark Richt's wins there, those were certainly classics. The one and done Matthew Stafford in 2007, excuse me. I had whiskey and all sorts of things thrown on me on that deal in the end zone, photographing that win for Georgia. And then, the man enough game in 2002. Georgia and Bama, somewhat like Georgia LSU, when the two of them meet, you get some classic games. We should see this more often. But the more teams that you add to the SEC, Texas A&M, Missouri, Oklahoma and Texas, Georgia has to play them too. I mean, I know everyone wants Georgia Alabama to play, but when Alabama was not good in the 2000s, it was still a big game, but nobody was like really clamoring for this game to happen. When Georgia was not great in, say, 2009 and 10, they didn't play, but nobody was like, hey, these guys got to play. These things go in cycles, and we don't know when Georgia won't be good or when Alabama won't be good. What we do know is that these teams will play one another more often in the future, just because of the way the SEC is structured. In conference games, we have seen these two teams play trophy games a lot lately. Of their last 7 games, all of them but 2 have been trophy games. So, well, it's even more than that, actually. So, 23, 22, 22, well, 23, 21, 21, 18, and 17. So, five of the last 7 games, all of the games that were not in Tuscaloosa were championship games. We're hoisting trophies at the end of trophy games, stakes games, for lack of a better term. And then, in 2012, that game as well. So more often than not, these games are huge games because they're playing for a trophy and essentially for the national championship. In 12, 17, 22, 23, you can make the argument. Those games were all for the right to play or for the national championship, period. I mean, if Georgia wins the 12 game, they go on to win national championship. They win in 17, they win it. And if Alabama were to win it in 21, they would have won it. In 23, that game was to get to the playoff to play for the national championship. So the games just have had huge stakes. There's not been a lot of games in college football that have been like this one. Hey, let me just say, Georgia is going to start spring practice or fall practice. We're already here tomorrow. Make sure you're tuning in. Ryan and I will have our riding home after we see practice. Make sure you are signing up for our newsletter. I'm going to put that link down below. Make sure you're signing up for that so you don't miss on anything. Obviously, you see the Red Zone shirt. Our 2025 preview is in the Red Zone as you watch this. So make sure you're running by there to see Scott and Mindy and say hello. You can I don't have my shirt immediately. You can get your riding home shirt there too. I've had some people, you know who you are, who have requested them, and they will be on their way. But for the common folks and Gen Pop out there watching, y'all will have to go by Red Zone to pick that up. But make sure you're getting the newsletter so you can have everything that you need. It's all about to get rolling here right now, not soon, right now. We've made it through. I mean, as County Crows would say, it's been a long December, right? I mean, it really has been a long time since January 2nd when Georgia and Gunner played this game. This shot is from the SEC championship game, but it's been a long time. This is from the Sugar Bowl. Oh, now you can't see. This shot is from the Sugar Bowl. So it's been a long time, and we got a lot of time before this Alabama game. Kirby tends to exaggerate sometimes when he gets frustrated with stuff. It seems like, I think was the quote. Let me read it real quick. Seems like we played over there 3 or 4 times. They played there twice. Kirby, I mean, there's not been there's not been a Georgia-Bama game that he's not been a major part of since 2007. So he knows the situation with this game, how important it's been. It's very rare that this game doesn't have a massive atmosphere, and that's what you should suggest. That's what you should anticipate as these two guys get ready for a clash of what should be 2 3-0 teams. Now we'll see. I mean, Georgia's got to go up to Neyland. We'll see how that goes. And then, Bama's got to survive their situation. I mean, Georgia's about a 7.5 point favorite against the Vols. They're a 4.5 favorite against Alabama, which means they should win both games. I'm just seeing that, like LSU is only a 1.5 favorite over Ole Miss. That seems low to me, but and Alabama is a 22-point favorite over Vanderbilt. So lots of games and numbers trickling in these days. Georgia is slightly less favored at Auburn than at Tennessee. That might be right. About the same over the Florida Gators. And then a 2.5-point favorite over Texas, which is, I wouldn't say it's a coin flip. It's close, though. So we'll have all those games. We're going to be at all the games. Riding Home starts on Thursday. I know y'all are all excited about the season, and we're going to have everything for you. But, we're a ways away from the Alabama game, and they get, that the good news for Alabama is they have the ability to play a big game on the road. They play at Florida State. That's a big game, and then Panhandle in Florida Bama or whatever they call it, that is going to be a huge, in Lower Alabama is what they call it. That's a huge game, and I don't see where Florida State sticks with them in a meaningful way. I think they could goof around with them. It's hard to play on the road. But I don't, like Bama's like a 14. I mean, they're a 2-touchdown favorite over the Noles on the road. So that's sort of what Georgia is with Tech. I don't see Tech hanging around with Georgia I don't, but you don't know. Like that's the fun of college football. And it's going to be a great season, or at least it should be fun. And we'll just see. But Georgia-Bama, you tell me what you think about the last Georgia-Alabama memory that you have from any of the big games that they played this century. Thanks for watching.